Hello, everyone. This is Kwavi, life coach for women 50 and over. How are you doing today? All right, today I'm going to talk about an important topic that I really think is affecting a lot of people, and sometimes they don't even realize it. Like when you set your goals and you're like, oh, I'm not able to achieve them. This is one of them. This is one of the very reasons why you're not able to achieve your goal. But before I go into that, I just want to check in with you. Like, how's your day going? Is it kind of like so so? Is it blah? And depending on how it's going, I really want you to analyze. Listen, questions are an amazing tool for us to figure out what's going on in our lives. And to be honest with you, I don't think we ask ourselves enough questions. Or should I say that we don't answer the questions for ourselves? We look to others to answer the question for us. But I think we have the answers within. And I think we need to do more investigative work on our own so that we can figure out what's going on. So, one of the things that's important when you are creating a goal is you have to make decisions. It's just the way it is. It's like the first part, okay, you have to have the passion and the drive and the motivation, and that's all well and good. But guess what, though? Passion, drive, motivation, they're not always ongoing. It's like up and down. It's like, you have the highs and the lows. That's what happens. Now, one of the things that you have to do along the way is you have to make decisions. And I'm going to tell you right now, one of the biggest dream killers is indecisiveness. Now, sometimes we don't even realize the indecisiveness. I'll give you an example. So, if you are told, oh, you need to do something, and you might respond with, I'll think about that later. Guess what? That's a dream killer right there. If you're a mom or a dad, when your kids come to you and ask you like, oh, mom, dad, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to go to a friend's house, or can you get this for me? One of the tactics that parents use is they'll say, oh, I'll think about that later. Now, some of you might really mean that, but for a lot of people, when they say I'll think about it later, they don't want to discuss it. And they use that as a delay tactic to probably, hopefully, that the kid, hopefully, what they're thinking is they're hoping that the kid might forget. And so when you say I'll think about it, it's more like I'm not going to discuss this. He or she's not going to remember. We're moving on. You don't want to make a decision. But the thing is, when you do that, you are making a decision. The decision not to do it. And I think sometimes we forget that. So you're really saying no, but you're just delaying the time in which you say it. But you're really saying no. That's what you're doing. You're saying no, but you're not really saying it. And this is the thing. I think as we move into 2020, I think we owe it to ourselves to be honest. We owe it to ourselves to really say what it is that we mean, because it's a reflection on us. And if you're doing that, best believe that you're probably doing it in other areas of your life. And so that is a dream killer big time. Like you want to do something like, for instance, you have a business and you need to make a decision. You're like, oh, I'll think about that later. No, I think about it later is really saying, I'm not going to deal with it. But the thing is, when you don't deal with it, a decision is being made. The decision is you're not doing anything. Decisions are always being made. Are they in your favor? That's the thing. When you say, I'll think about it, you've already made the decision not to do that. You've done that. That's what you're saying. Decisions don't take time, but decisions can be scary. When you make a decision, that means, okay, it's time. I have to do this. And sometimes going out there, when you've been in this comfortable cocoon right here, is rough. Especially if there isn't anyone out there who's done what you've done before. It can be scary. But I'll tell you this, when you make a decision, regardless of how you feel, like if you're scared or whatever, back yourself up. Do not make a decision and then want to kind of like, oh no, why did I? Make a decision and just go with it. That's how you grow. That's how you become successful. And let's take it that maybe you make a decision, you back yourself up, and it doesn't work out. Guess what? You've learned that that won't be the decision you'll make next time. You learn through it. There is no downside to making a decision. None. None. Because when you make a decision, it involves courage. Woo! It involves you being courageous. And courageous is a skill that you can use in so many parts of your life. And so when you make that decision, you're being courageous. You've made that decision. Okay, you've put yourself out there. Now I'm going to do this. Woo, it can be scary. I'll tell you this. One of the things I do with my clients when they contact me and they want to work with me, and sometimes they'll say things like, oh, I'll think about it. We all know that when people say that, that means they're not coming back. And you know what I tell them? How long will you need to think about that? Because the honest truth is, when they hang up the phone with me, they're not going to be thinking about that. They're going to go on to other things. And so, what I always tell them is like, let's do this. Let's put a deadline on it. And the reason why I'm doing this is I am training them to do this for themselves. And so, when I say, you know what? Let's put a time frame. And so, I tell them, okay, let's contact me next week. And not just next week, the day next week before a certain time. I put a deadline, a time frame. And they'll say, okay. And most times they're taken aback. They're like, oh, no one's ever said that to me. I'm like, yes, because I am training you to be accountable to yourself. When you make a decision, you honor the commitment you've made to yourself. You do that. That makes a big difference. Like when you're trying to achieve a goal, you can't just be nilly-willy and say, okay, I'll just do it whenever. Really? That's not how to run a business. And the thing is, those types of business decisions affect you in your own life. There are decisions that you have to make in your own life. And so you can apply those same principles to your own life and say, well, you know what? I'm going to do this. Exercise is an example. Oh, I'm going to exercise this year. Well, that is a pretty vague goal. I'm going to exercise this year. That means nothing. That could mean I'm going to exercise December 31st, 2022. Or it could mean I'm going to exercise 3 days a week. Or it could mean I'm going to exercise every day. It's very vague. And when goals are vague, guess what? We don't achieve them because it's kind of like, I didn't really put a time frame. It could be whenever. That's what happens. So it's almost like a back way for you not to do what you want to do. So instead of saying I'm going to exercise in 2022, you'll say, I am going to exercise 3 days a week. Boom, boom, boom. And when you say 3 days a week, you set the days of the week. You say, okay, I'm going to exercise Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now that is a goal. That is a goal that you can achieve because you have set parameters. You have said, okay, I'm going to exercise on these days and how many times a week. That is what we need to do for ourselves. We are not holding ourselves accountable. And I'll tell you what this is. When you hold yourself accountable, you know what that is? That is self-love. That means that you love yourself enough to put a stipulation as to when, how, whatever is going to happen. We need to do more of that. And talking about self-love, that is what I'm going to be covering in my online community next month, February. So if you're interested, send me a DM or click the link that I'm going to include that talks about flourish. So you can actually go there and take a look. But we need to honor the commitments that we've made to ourselves. It's so easy for us to say, oh, I'll do that. And then when it comes down to it, you're like, oh, I don't feel like it. You do realize that if you don't feel like doing something, you can still do it. Your brain is going to tell you, you don't feel like it, don't do it. I want to tell you that if you don't like it, if you don't feel like it, you can still do it. And that's how you honor the commitment to yourself. Because I know that if it was your child, they had a commitment, you go pick them up. If you have to pick them up from school or they say they want to, they have extracurricular activities, you'll take them, right? Because you've made that commitment, and you know how kids are like, Mom, you said, yeah, now listen, I want you to use that same tactic for yourself. I said, and then do it. Listen, we want 2022 to be different. And you know the way that we can do that? By honoring the commitments that we've made to ourselves and just going for it. Whatever those goals are. For some of you, you may not have written your goals. Write your goals down. What do you want to achieve in 2022? Now, the women that I work with are in their 50s and over. And I am telling you this, we are going to achieve some amazing goals in 2022, especially my Flourish. We have already started that process. because we started working on ourselves so that we can become the best version of ourselves and support ourselves as we create these goals. But the thing is, you have to be ready. You have to be courageous. You have to be confident. And those are some of the skills that we're building in Flourish. And so, if that's not something you already have, I encourage you to start to find ways to build those areas of your life so that you can keep these commitments that you've made to yourself. Now, and if you don't have someone to help you and you feel, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do this on my own, I encourage you to contact me. Let's talk. Let's chat. I want to help as many women, and I mean that, as many women as possible in 2022 to achieve their goals so that they can live their best life on their own terms. And that can be anything they please. Because over 50 doesn't come the one size fits all. We're also different in the way, in what we want, our desires, our goals. And so I want this year to be, listen, not just amazing, over the top amazing for you. And so, one of the things that I want you to really think about is, how do you make decisions? Listen, decisions don't take time. I'm going to be honest with you. Something like, oh, they need 2 weeks. Really? You really don't need that amount of time. It's either a yes or a no. And the beautiful thing about making decisions is when you make decisions, you allow your brain to kind of like, okay, I'm done with that. When you don't, guess what? It's like an open loop. It's like a leak in the brain. The brain still thinks, okay, what are we going to do? It's going to be yes, it's going to be no. What are we going to do? It's like constantly thinking about that. When you make a decision, boom, it's done. You've given your brain something else to think about. And so I encourage you to just go ahead and make decisions. Like you probably have a decision to make right now. I don't know what it is, but just make the decision, yes or no. And when you make the decision, when you make it, back yourself up. Like support yourself on it. Some of you make decisions and it's almost like it's an extension of yourself. It's like that decision is there, I'm over here. No, no. The decision, you and the decision are working together to make it work. Okay. All right. So before I go, I just want to share with you a beautiful poem that I hope will encourage you. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're trying to achieve or challenges you have in your life. But I want this. I'm going to share this poem with you because I think it will uplift you in some way. All right. So you are here to take up space, to fill up this world with your presence, your laughter, your adventures, your dreams, your one of a kind story. You're making a difference with every breath you breathe. You shape the people around you just by being alive. You add brightness to each day you wake up in. You bring warmth and joy to every life that intersects with yours. You are a radiant soul that shines brighter than you know. Your light makes the darkness scatter. Every breath, every smile, every step you take forward makes the shadows disappear. You are stronger and braver than you realize. Every day you wake up believing that there is still hope, still joy, still love, still things worth fighting for. And that is courageous. Today, I want to remind you that you are here to take up space loudly, proudly, and fiercely. Remember, you are lovely, you are precious, you are worthy, you are capable, you are a spectacular work of art. Try not to forget your own significance anymore. I think this is just such a beautiful, Melissa, I'll post it. I think this is just a beautiful poem because it just, to me, it just summarizes women, especially women in their 50s and over. I think this summarizes who we are at the core. And so I wanted to share this with you, and I hope in some way it brightens up your day in some way. And listen, if you listen to me on whether it's Facebook or YouTube, share this with someone else. Share this video with someone else. It could help uplift their day. All right. Thank you so much for listening, all of you. And I'll see you back here next week. All right. Take care. Bye.